Hello everyone. Today we're going to do word problems, quadratic word problems. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Now this whole first page basically lets you know what everything is. It kind of gives you a laydown of like what keywords are, how you can solve it, what you're looking for. And it kind of gives you a little bit of calculator stuff. If you guys want to play with that, we can do more calculator stuff in class for sure. You'll definitely get the calculator stuff before your SOL. So this is a typical word problem quadratic where the t is representing your x, okay? V to the, like with the little 0 subscript, that is your initial upward velocity. H with the 0, ooh, moving things around, cool, is your initial height. So that's really where it starts. So a lot of word problems talk about like kicking a ball or launching a rocket and stuff like that, jumping in the air, because all those go up and then back down. So they make parabolas. So that's the typical thing you're going to see is usually height and time. But here's a little chart to help you remember. So if it asks how long is it in the air, you're looking for the zeros. Or how long until it hits the ground again, you're looking for zeros. So you can use graphing, you could solve it by hand with factoring, or you can use quadratic formula. Maximum height, you're looking for the y value of the vertex because that's the highest point in your parabola. So the maximum or even the lowest depth might be another question if they're talking about like diving or something. Where the y value is usually talking about the height, okay? So, and in order to find that, you would look for the x value first and then plug that into the equation to find the y value. If they're asking how long it takes to reach its maximum height, that's the x, like time is usually our x. So you need the x value for the vertex, which is just going to be negative b over 2a. And the last one would be how high after like a certain amount of seconds. Well, they gave you the x value, you can plug it into the equation and solve for y. Or you can put it in the calculator, they put the equation in the calculator, just use x's and y's, and then look for that x value and find the y value that's with it. So let's go ahead and try some word problems. So, example 1. You're standing in a park and kick a ball straight up in the air. The ball travels at an initial velocity of 64 feet per second. The equation is h equals negative 16 squared plus 24t. Most of the time you're going to get an equation, okay? So there's 3 parts to this. How long will the ball be in the air? That means find the zeros. When will the ball be at its maximum height? That is the x value of the vertex, meaning you're going to find the axis of symmetry, because they're asking about time, which is our x. And how high does the ball get? Find the y value of the vertex. So let's start with the zeros. Again, you could graph it, you could factor it, you could quadratic formula it. Okay? So I decided to factor it because there's only 2 terms. I just set it equal to 0. And then I'm going to GCF this because they have a t and the 16 in common. So I take that out. I actually take out a negative 16 because there's a negative in front. We'll have a negative 16t and t minus 4. That's my factored form. Now I just go ahead and set both of these equal to 0. So negative 16t equals 0 and t minus 4 equals 0. Solve for t by dividing by 16. I'm going to add 4 to both sides here. I get t equals 0 or t can equal 4. Meaning that at this time, when it was on the first time it was on the floor, was at 0 seconds. So he hadn't even kicked the ball yet. The next time it hit the floor was after 4 seconds. So that's after it traveled up in the air and came back down. So 0 doesn't make sense for our answer. So 4 is how long it was in the air for. Okay? 4 seconds. Okay? And I know it's seconds because they said it's traveling at feet per second. So height is in feet and time is in seconds. T, when will it hit? So I'm trying to find the axis of symmetry. So I go ahead and do just negative b over 2 times a. I only had a b and a, so it worked out really nicely. I get negative 64 over negative 32. X equals 2. That's my axis of symmetry. That's my x value for the vertex. So since I'm talking about height, oh, I'm talking about time. Just kidding. It hit its maximum height at 2 seconds. Okay. And how high does the ball get? Well, I need to find the y value of the vertex. Luckily, I just found the x value, that 2. So that's what I'm going to plug in for t, and I'm going to find the height. So, ooh, things are moving today. So I go ahead and plug that in. Oh, I'm going to work backwards. Okay, cool. So I plugged 2 into the equation for the t's, because 2 is my time. I get this, so I go ahead and square the 2, I get 4, multiply negative 16 times 4, and 64 times 2, I get negative 64 plus 128, and my height equals 64 feet then. Okay, so you guys are going to try this one on your own. I know it says example 2, but you're going to do it on your own. Okay, so either pause the video or you can come back and work on it later. Alright, example 3 or 2, whatever you want to think. You and some friends went to a haunted house on Halloween. The mummy scared one friend so much that she jumped into the air. The equation was negative 4t squared plus 2t models her jump, where h is her jump's height in feet, t seconds after the mummy scares her. So how long was your friend in the air? So that means we're finding the zeros again. So I start with my equation. I decided to factor. You could easily do quadratic formula or put it in the calculator. That's totally fine. So I factored it, just found the GCF, and these are my 2 factors. Set them both equal to 0, and then solve for t. So this one I just divided by negative 2. This one I had to, I had to add 1 first, and then I can divide by 2. So I end up getting t equals 0 and 1/2. Okay? Well, 0 is when she started before the scare, and 1/2 seconds is after the scare. So she was in the air for one half of a second. Okay? How high did your friend jump? Well, that's the y value of the vertex. So you have to find the x value of the vertex first so you know what to plug into the equation. So I do the line of symmetry, and it's negative 2 over 2 times negative 4. So I get negative 2 over negative 8, simplifies to be 1/4. Now I go ahead and plug that into my equation. So 1/4 is going in for t, and then I just go ahead and square the 1/4, multiply it out. Ooh, yeah, I get negative 1/4 plus 1/2 equals 1/4 of a foot. So she jumped 3 inches into the air. Not a lot, but it was enough that she got off the ground. And then when did she reach her maximum height? So when did this happen? Well, we already found it at this time, 1/4 of a second. Okay, so pretty straightforward. You guys are going to do the last one on your own. Okay, it's only 1 question, so that's why I gave it to you. But that's it. If you have any questions, we can talk about them next class. Otherwise, I will see you later. Bye.